Hello, my friends. I wish you a very, very good morning. Lovely to be with you again. My name is Mr Dilly, of course, and welcome to another Mr Dilly Meets in this May. The sun is shining. It's springtime, and we got a kind of a nice wild backdrop for you to celebrate all the life that's coming out of this year as we enter this lovely season into the summer, which is all around us at the moment. So today, it's May's Marvellous Authors. 6 brilliant authors live here today speaking to you. There'll also be a short pre-record at the end from Fidan Meikle speaking about her book as well. So stay tuned for that. Let's get straight into part 1. Here we go. Okay, now you remember, if you've seen Mr. Dilly Meets before, we've only played this a couple of times over the recent months, is Just a Minute. It's something that puts the fear, everybody, into our authors. Not really. We might do some of them. Basically, the authors will have just a minute to speak about their latest book on a timer. And I have my kazoo here. Yeah, a new kazoo. It's a new kazoo. And on that minute, they can't repeat any part of their story. They have to keep on speaking. And when that minute's up, I blow that kazoo. That's the end of their minute. Okay, so we're going to play the titles, and after that, magically, all the authors will be appearing on screen at the same time. Are you ready? Here we go. Look, we're all here. Give everyone a big round of applause and a nice big wave. Fantastic, fantastic. So we have, let's go from on my screen. Anyway, we have Rachel Chivers Khoo over here. Round of applause, Rachel. We have Louis Sit. Round of applause, Louis. We have Simon Packham, we have Rachel Morrisroe, we have James Catchpole, and we have Cornelia Funke. Round of applause. Give each other a round of applause because it's about to get serious, people. So listen, lovely to have you all with us. Now, children, of course, we're going to be going into a bit more detail about all these wonderful authors and their books in a right. But for now, we have just a minute. Now, first of all, hello to you all. Give us all a nice big hello. Give us to all the children.
Hello.
Hello.
Now, does anybody want to volunteer to go first for this? Don't jump in.
Go on, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, Rachel Morrisroe is going to go first. Okay, so we're going to start with Rachel. So let's go. I'll write this down in case it doesn't appear on my screen. So we're going to have Rachel Morrisroe first of all. Then I think we go James. Is that okay to go with you after that?
Sure thing.
Cornelia. Going to go for you. Then Rachel Chivers Khoo over here. And then we have Louis Sit. And then Simon, you have the huge responsibility of rounding it all off. So don't let me down. It's a big responsibility. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to say goodbye to you all, Rachel Morrisroe, and then we're going to go into it. Okay, I'll give you a countdown, Rachel. Don't worry. Here we go. So just for now. So goodbye to James for now. Goodbye to Cornelia, Simon, Louis, and the other Rachel. Here we go. Right, Rachel. Now, how are you feeling? Feeling good?
I've got to say I'm feeling a little bit stressed, but we'll give it a go.
Okay, I think you're going to do wonderful. You're going to kick it off. You're going to do wonderful. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Off you go. Remember, you can't repeat any part of your story. Okay. And you have to keep speaking. So no pausing. You've got to keep going. Keep going. Okay? Okay. So I believe in you, Rachel. I believe in you. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. So 1, 2, 3. Over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. This is Felix and the Future Agency. It is all about a top secret government agency foreseeing the future. It's inspired by a real life story, a hotline that existed in the 1960s called the Premonitions Bureau, where a scientist collected people's visions of the future. And he discovered amazing things, like there were these two people who could seem to be able to really see the future. They saw things like plane crashes to the exact number of casualties and boat sinkings and train derailments, all sorts of things. So I thought, what if instead of coming to an end with the Bureau closing, what if instead it became a real government organisation where people get many more magical skills when they start to train. So you're going to meet some dream weavers who can see the future in dreams. You're going to meet spirit speakers who can speak to ghosts to get their premonitions. You're going to meet astrologists who see the future in the stars, and they are able to conjure down the star sequences from the night sky, the animal constellations from the night sky. Felix, I hope you're going to love him.
You're done. We're done.
He's really brave. He's really kind. He's dyslexic. It was really important to me to have a dyslexic main character.
We're done.
His brain is really creative and amazing.
Keep going.
What else to say? Oh, it's all based on the London Underground, the disused service tunnels of the London Underground, and the Buckingham Palace tube line. So I hope you love it.
We're done. That was pretty impressive stuff. I know over time, but that was very impressive. But over time there, so I'm not quite sure if we give you a default for that one. I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear the buzzer.
I know. Do you not hear the kazoo? Do you not hear the kazoo?
No.
Hear the kazoo?
No.
Oh, because did everyone now listen?
I think I was too busy chatting.
Did the other authors hear the kazoo? Put your hands up if you heard the kazoo. Oh, I don't know.
I think it's because you're chatting, so it doesn't come up on my computer. I promise I didn't mean to go over the kazoo.
Okay, we'll let you have that one, but that's a close call. But well done, Rachel. It was very, very good, Rachel. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to James now. So over to you, James. Okay, so how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm pumped.
That's good. Now, it's a pretty good start, though. I mean, slightly over time there. So I hope you can bring it in on time for us, James. Is that going to be possible?
I'm ready. I'm going to go for it.
We can do this. Okay, so here we go. So get ready on 1 minute on the timer, starting. Let me pick my thing up. Starting.
All right. So I have one leg. When I was your age, I had one leg too. I used a false leg inside my trousers, and I walked slowly and carefully so as not to fall over. And then when I was sort of 13 or 14, something changed. I changed. I did something different, and it changed the whole course of my life in a very good way. It meant I started owning my disability and being proud of who I am. But it happened by chance. There was no book to tell me how it was to grow up with one leg. There was Treasure Island with Long John Silver, the scary pirate guy. There was Tiny Tim in A Christmas Carol. But these were not helpful. So together with my wife, Lucy, and Jen Campbell, the book reviewer, who are both disabled and both authors, we decided to put together an anthology of growing up stories by disabled authors so that kids today have a book that says what it's really like to grow up with a disability and to own it.
Look at that. That was almost rehearsed. That was a beautiful thing, James. Whatever you take from today, take that in your heart and realize that you brought it in on time. It's a beautiful thing. That's very, very good. It's really good.
It's entirely off the cuff. I mean, rehearsed. I don't know what you mean.
I mean, that was great. I'm going to give you a round of applause. That was very, very, very good. So we're going to hear a bit more about owning it, and of course, Rachel's book, Felix and the Future Agency, in just a moment. Okay, so next up we have Cornelia Funke. Here we go. Okay, Cornelia. Right, are you ready, Cornelia?
Yes.
You ready? Okay, here we go. So we're going to give you 3, 2, 1. Off you go.
This is the Green Kingdom. It contains a messed up summer, a drawer that sticks, 10 letters from 1958, a blind girl and another girl who tries to grow roots in a very foreign and strange place. And that's all I will tell you about it.
No. Is that it? We don't get anything else.
No.
That's all we're getting. So now you're just gonna have to just buy the book if that hasn't treated.
Yeah, I will not give anything more away. Well, I have to when I do the
and also, well, you do. You have to tell a bit more about it later on. And also, as you can see, the covers. Well, you won't see it on my screen because it goes weird. The cover's green, actually. If you can hold it, you can give that away as well. So that's about it. Okay, Cornelia, that's fantastic. Okay, we're gonna go to Rachel Chivers Khoo. Here we go. Rachel, are you ready? Here we go. So I've got to get my timer down again because obviously Cornelia. Well, I mean, it was good, but it fell short slightly. So here we go. So are you going to bring it back to the minute?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
So this is my book, Finders of Silverthorn Forest, which is illustrated beautifully by Laura Catalan. It's the story of a boy called Max, and Max sets out on a hunt for a lost time capsule, which his grandmother has buried 70 years ago in Silverthorn Forest. Now, the last thing Max expects to find is the home of a magical creature. But that is exactly what he does find, and he meets Tuftorius Snook, who is a collector of lost objects and one of the many finders living in Silverthorn Forest. Max and Tuff become friends quite quickly, but then Max accidentally breaks the most important rule, never steal, and he is banished from the home of the finders. And then Max discovers that Silverthorn Forest is under threat, so he has to find a way somehow to save Tuft and the others before it's too late.
Beautiful. Also had a nice kind of little ending there, kind of, beautiful ending there. So that's fantastic. Okay, Rachel, thank you very much. We've got 2 more to go. We're hearing a bit more about, obviously, the wonderful, if I can find your actual book here, The Finders of Silverthorn Forest. Once again, it goes weird on my screen a little bit later on. So, Rachel, thank you very much. Fantastic, Rachel, there. Now we're going to Louis. Here we go. Okay, Louis, second to last. Okay, so... before the show, we said, have you done any stretches at all? Any warming up?
Yeah, I've done some neck stretches.
That's good. That's advisable. That's advisable. Okay, Louis, hand over to you now. So 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Right, this is Land of the Last Wildcat. It's a contemporary middle grade adventure with a dash of magic, perfect for readers 8+. In the book, you'll meet a very special wildcat called the Curie. The Curie is special because it's rumored to have healing powers, much like a phoenix or a unicorn. In the book, most people don't believe the Curie exists. They think of it as a mythical animal. However, our hero, 10-year-old Puffin Lau, who's heard all about the Curie growing up, also hasn't met it. But her mum, Allegra, a research scientist, specializes in the study of the Curie, and Allegra believes that a Curie exists out in the world. One day on a school trip, Puffin and her best friend Lance sneak into the lab where her mum works, and there they find a Curie locked up. Puffin is shocked. She's meeting a Curie for the first time. And also at the same time as meeting it, she falls instantly in love with the animal. However, almost as soon as she meets the Curie, she discovers something else. She discovers... Oh no!
I think that's a good cliffhanger. She discovers something else. And then
Could
you're like...
I have had Cornelia's extra time?
Well, what yeah. I know. Right, there's a cliffhanger there.
That was a cliffhanger, yes.
What did she discover? I need to know. So I think it's read it. Thank you very much, Louis. Okay, we're over to Simon now. Simon, here we go to bring it all to its beautiful ending today with Zach Monroe. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Over to you.
Sam Taylor's living his best life. The sun's shining, the stats are over, and he's just learned how to make farting noises with his armpit. But Sam's devastated when he hears his best friends, Cal, Finn and Jay, saying they're not going to put him on their friends list for their Year 7 tutor groups. Apparently he's rubbish at football, he likes singing, he spends too much time with his nan, and he just needs to man up a bit. Sam vows to change himself and force his way back onto their friends list. But at half-time, when the other boys are in Barcelona on holiday, Sam ends up spending time with Zach Monroe. Zach Monroe, everyone knows at school, is really weird. He likes collecting owl pellets. He's friends with Bella Rigsby, the school weightlifter, and he's feeding a fox at the local cemetery. But much to his amazement, Sam realizes he's having a brilliant time. But if Cal, Finn and Jay find out he's friends with Zach Monroe, they'll never put him on this friends list. So back at school, he has to keep their friendship a secret. And just to make sure that no one's in any doubt, he ends up doing something extremely mean to Zach. So will the old Sam be lost forever, or will he finally figure out who his true friends really are?
That'll do. I can't even blow the kazoo properly. I run out of breath. I think that's very, very good. That's almost a horse race commentary. That's very, very good. So if the author thing eventually, you get fed up with it or whatever, you just think, I'm going into horse racing. I'll give you a round of applause. That was very, very funny. Very, very good. Simon, thank you very much. We'll be back. We're talking about Zach Monroe in just a minute. So there we have the end of Just a Minute. And after this, we have a bit more in depth with Matron Morrisroe. Okay, very, very good. I hope you enjoyed that. Right, let's go to talk a little bit more about Felix and the Future Agency. And welcome back, Rachel Morrisroe. Hello, Rachel. Good fun. You enjoy that?
Hello. I loved it. I'm really sorry I broke the rules. I didn't mean to, I promise.
Well, I think what happened, so basically, if you think about it, you and Cornelia had a beautiful balancing act because you went slightly over. She went quite a bit under, but together you kind of infused together the beautiful melange. I think we call it that. Was,
I had a premonition that was going to happen.
You'd sent Felix there; he'd figure it out, let you know. That's what it had.
Yeah.
So Felix in the Future Agency, wonderful, wonderful book. I got my copy just a few days ago up here. As I said, all the green books go all weird because of my green screen. But so Felix obviously spoke about this, and Felix, the main character of the book, can see the future, but only sometimes see the future. But here's a quick question for you: if you could see, say, just 5 minutes into the future, what would you use it for? Apart from what we just did, obviously.
Ooh.
That's a good question.
What would I use it for? Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I don't know if I'd want to see the future. I think it would be like, I mean, maybe the lottery numbers. I don't know. I don't know. That's a bit greedy, isn't it? But I don't think I'd want to see the future. I think it'd be really scary to see the future if you could really know in real life, unless you could alter it, unless you had a Celestor. So Felix has creatures called Celestors. They're magical star creatures, and they can ride out and stop things from happening. But imagine if you saw something that you knew was going to happen and then you couldn't change it. It'd be really scary.
I think you're right about that. Also, they talk about, try and live in the moment. But if you're always seeing 5 minutes into the future, you can never actually be where you are, can you? You're always in.
The premonitions that Felix and his friends have are often sort of a little bit further in the future, and they often come they're a bit coded. They're not always very clear cut, so they have to sort of try and work out what they're about. So it's not like, oh, we're going to have fish and chips for tea or whatever. It's like, oh no. It comes coded, and it's not sometimes through a dream, and they'll see a vision of something and won't quite understand what it is. Or sometimes the ghosts speak in riddles and they have to decode the riddles. So it's a bit more complicated.
Yeah, I think that's right. So as you said, you've got these magical ideas in the book. Obviously, you just spoke about one of them, but you've got a sort of dream weaving, star animals, ghost whispering, all the rest of it. Just tell us a little bit about those powers, what they all are. So, and also, tell us about them first of all. And I've got a quick question for you about them. So tell us about what those powers are and what they represent.
So I really wanted the powers in Felix to feel quite familiar to children. So you'll have dream weavers, and dream weavers are able to see the future in dream states. Now, I don't know whether anyone's ever had a little cat nap in the afternoon before, or perhaps someone's had a nightmare, or maybe you've had a daydream. I'm sure people have had daydreams before. I know I have had lots of daydreams. Now, these are all kind of little floaty dreams that you are really going to find down on the Magic Mile, and they bring you your premonitions. Dreamweavers are also able to conjure their dreams into reality. So there is a magical shopping tube stop down on the Buckingham Palace line called Enchantment Embankment, where you can go and get all of your amazing, you can visit all the amazing shops. So there is Prunella's, which is a giant pumpkin you can walk inside. And there's all sorts of stuff going on down there. Then we have spirit speakers, and they are able to channel their premonitions from the spirit world. And you're going to meet some ghosts that you're familiar with. You might see Henry VIII down there, but you need to be careful because he likes chopping people's heads off. You're going to see William Shakespeare. And then finally, we have astrologists. And as I mentioned before, astrologists can conjure the constellations down from the night sky. So you're going to see lots of Great Bears, Canis Majors, Leo Minors. They are at the forefront of disaster prevention for the agency. And so if you get really good as an astrologist and you practice and practice and practice, you can join the Sky Riders, which is like the elite fighting force of the future agency.
Sounds good. I think there's lots there that the children would like to join. It's a question of which one do you want to join. But if there was one of the powers that you could have, which one would it be and why?
So I would be a spirit speaker because I love spooky things. So I am all about a spooky book, spooky podcast, spooky, anything spooky. I like witches, I like vampires, I like ghosts. So I would definitely be a spirit speaker if I could choose anyone. And I'd like to go to Seance Street Station and go and summon some ghosts.
I think that'd be nice. Well, nice in one way. It depends what ghosts that come through the
exactly.
You know what I mean? That could be too. When you were sort of writing this book, was there anything in terms of, it might have been part of any sort of research you did or just your own imagination that was kind of, you found sort of surprising or funny while you sort of imagining this kind of world that you came across, or just a funny idea that suddenly just appeared, or maybe you've already had it? Anything particular thought?
Sort of, I think sort of the original concept of it was absolutely astounding to me, because I'd obviously come across this history that I don't think anyone really heard of before, of the Premonitions Bureau, which was a real life, like a hotline. And then these two people that they were called seers. and they were reporting things that were really happening. So things like I said, like a plane crash, down to the exact number of casualties, and they reported on the Hither Green rail disaster 4 days before it happened, and said the words Charing Cross before a train derailed outside Charing Cross. So I thought that was really fascinating. I've really tried to lean into real world magic. So there are lots of places that you can visit. If you like the book, you can go on a little Felix tour around London. There's some magical shops that I talk about in the book that you can go and visit. Watkins Books, which is a beautiful magical bookshop, and there's lots of real life ghosts in there. So a lot of the ghosts that I talk about are reported hauntings on the London Underground. So I loved all the facts. I've got a degree in history, so I love leaning into sort of history as kind of the springboard into the fictional world. Absolutely. So that's what you'll find lots down on the Magic Mile.
That's fantastic. So, can you give us a little reading that gives us a little glimpse into the plot? So, I'll hand over to Rachel for this. Give us a little reading, give us a bit of context. Here we go.
Okay, so this is just an extract from chapter 1, and I hope it will give you a bit of a flavour of what kind of character Felix is and how he comes into his powers. Okay, it's the look on his face that's the real sucker punch. I've seen it so much, I'd recognise it anywhere. His nostrils flare a little when I tell him. His green eyes are wide as they dart over my shoulder. He's looking to see if someone is around to help him out. Seb Thompson stands at least 5 inches taller than me and a good deal broader. Star of the school basketball team, Seb could knock me over with a sneeze, yet he is absolutely terrified of me. I lower my eyes and try to make myself small. I don't want to scare anyone, but I found that it comes with the territory when you can see the future. I'm so sorry, Seb, I say softly. I don't want to worry you, but it happens after school today. Someone is going to hurt you. They're going to steal your bag. Can your parents pick you up later? Seb's eyebrows twitch nervously, and I can see beads of sweat start to appear on his upper lip. He's looking at me as a cornered hare might study a fox. I feel horrible, but there is no way I could sit with the knowledge that someone is going to get hurt. I've done that before. I'll never do it again. Seb, are you all right? Jacob Tolley's voice comes over my shoulder. I don't know, says Seb. It's Felix. He's been weird again. Oi, leave him alone. Jacob gives my shoulder a shove. We've had about enough of you, freak. They turn and walk away, but Seb looks back over his shoulder, and I think he's checking to make sure I'm not following them. Here's the thing. I kind of get it. I know how this stuff sounds. I can see why everyone in my entire school thinks I'm a liar, because every single thing I have warned people about has come to pass. It all started with my granddad, Jim. He showed me that one of the high bars was weak on the climbing wall in the school hall. Chris Lennon was going to fall and break his leg. The canteen would serve some dodgy chicken at lunch, and half the school would be off with food poisoning. I started delivering his messages, trying to warn people that this stuff was going to happen. When it all actually started playing out, they said that the only logical explanation was that I was behind it all. My behaviour record reads like I'm on a fast track to prison. The rumours follow me like wasps. Parents have started complaining. Teachers edge away from me when I pass them in the corridor, and my classmates look at me with fear. Felix Green is a freak. Felix Green, ghost boy. The names always make me flinch, but they are right about the last one, because here's the thing about logic. You can't always trust it. You see, my granddad Jim, my mum's dad, died many years ago when she was a very young child. My granddad Jim is a ghost.
Hey, Grandad Jim is a ghost. Fantastic. Really lovely. That really sets it up really lovely. Just very, very quickly. What do you hope sort of readers feel or get from reading Felix's adventure in this book?
Felix is dyslexic, so it's something I'm really passionate about. So Felix, I'm neurodiverse. Both my children are neurodiverse, and so it's really important to me as an author to put Felix as a neurodiverse main character, so that children who are reading it will sort of not just feel validated, but feel magical.
Yeah.
So down on the Magic Mile, a lot of the characters you'll meet are neurodiverse. They are dyslexic. There is a character with ADHD, and it helps make them more magical because their brains are able to feel their way around problems in ways that perhaps neurotypical people's can't. So I just wanted to really kind of put the spotlight on amazing neurodiverse children and make them feel really seen and amazing through the story, which I hope it does. So I think that's probably the main takeaway. Other than that, I just want kids to have fun. It's a super magical, slightly spooky adventure, and I've absolutely adored writing it. So I really hope that children just have great fun and just want to read the next one. It's a trilogy, so I want to read the next one straight away.
Okay, so Felix and the Future Agency, a secret agency to save the world, is out this week. It's out this week. So thank you, Rachel.
Okay.
Rachel, we'll be back for our author panel at the end. We've got a load of your questions at the end where you're asking all the authors. But for now, round of applause. Rachel Morrisroe. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going straight in to talk about owning it over here, which kind of gels in my background colours. Let's have a chat again to James Catchpole. Hello again, James. How's it going?
Hey there. Yeah, you're right. I'm okay.
Yeah, really, really good. Great, and well done on the Just a Minute. You did yourself proud there. So as you said, owning it is real life stories by disabled writers. What made you bring these voices together? I mean, you spoke a little bit about your own sort of history and past there, but was there any sort of particular other thing that kind of made you want to bring all these voices together?
Whenever people, I suppose I'm talking about grown-ups here, but maybe kids too, whenever people with disabilities get together for the first time, there can often be a lovely conversation based around solidarity. You realize that other people have had similar experiences to you, even if the disabilities vary enormously, which of course they do in life. You might find out that people respond to you in similar ways, that you've had the same sort of funny encounters with strangers. Those conversations feel very valuable, and often you don't have them until you're a grown-up. I never met anyone else with one leg, not really, until I started playing one-legged football. When I was 18 or 19, I started playing, going across the country to meet the other guys who played amputee football.
Yeah.
And it's so important to have that, actually. If you
definitely
don't, you miss out on something. So this book is an attempt to supply that in book form for everybody.
Was there so you said some of these stories that came in, you said about sort of you get to sort of see other people's experiences and obviously all that kind of stuff. Were there any particular stories that made you either, I don't know, laugh out loud or stop and think or look at the world in a kind of different way, it perhaps kind of like surprised you or made you look at your own situation a different way through the eyes of someone else that were telling their particular take on having a disability? Anything like that?
So much, but really it's sort of the commonality of themes that surprised me. When you're doing something like this, you want to find a good number of writers. We've got 22 people, and then you want to emphasize as much as you can diversity. So you want to have as many different disabilities as you possibly can. People with, the human body can go wrong in all sorts of ways. You want to get as many disabilities as you possibly can. You want to get as many cultural backgrounds, as many countries as you possibly can. So you end up with people from all over the world and very, very different lives. And yet there's an awful lot in common between the story of a girl losing her eyesight around the age of 11 or 12 in San Francisco and a boy in Baghdad who loses his arms and his entire family when a bomb falls through the roof of his house at the start of the Iraq War in 2003. You'd think these lives had very little in common, but there's an enormous amount that these two people have in common in terms of what they experience and how people respond to them and how they find their place in the world.
Did you do some of the people that have written these stories? Have you met them personally, and have they met each other at all? Or
do you know I know a few of them. I know a few of them, but this book wouldn't exist without the internet. One or two I know personally. So Daniel Sluman is a poet who came to play amputee football a couple of times, and Ali, who lost his arms in Iraq, was a very good footballer down in the sort of London disability football scene that I used to know. But really, the key to this book is Instagram. I'd say Instagram and YouTube. Lucy and I have an account. Jen Campbell is a very good vlogger on YouTube, and we know all our contacts who are they? Poets, academics, novelists, influencers, activists from America, from here, from Australia. We know them all through the internet. That's the key.
So that's what I mean. That's when the internet's at its best, isn't it? Bringing people together and it's sort of groups
Absolutely.
and finding other people that can sort of respond and echo your kind of particular story. Why do you think? I mean, you touched on this briefly, but why do you think it's important for children, but not just children, but any of us actually, disabled or not, to hear about childhoods or lives that are sometimes different to our own? Can people, even if they have a disability or no disability, find commonality with that, or why do you think it's important for we to sort of hear each other's stories in that sense?
Yeah, there's probably two ways to answer that. I mean, for disabled kids themselves, most kids with disabilities don't grow up with an immediate family member who shares that disability. I mean, these days with neurodivergence, which can fall into that category, that's often quite common. Deafness is often hereditary and passed down, dwarfism too. But for a lot of disabled kids, they don't have a sibling or a parent or anyone in their life who shares their disability. So how do they know how to do it? They make it up as they go along, right? But there is an importance in having, this phrase role model gets used a lot, right? And often it becomes a bit meaningless. But at a very basic level, how do you get to imagine how your life could be as an adult if you've not seen anyone with one leg, in my case, being an author, a literary agent, a footballer, a lawyer, a doctor? All these things exist, but if you've never seen it, what's your reference point? A pirate from a picture book? Not that helpful. You know what I mean? Very few jobs in piracy these days.
Yeah. It wasn't a good thing back in the day either, piracy. Can you give us a little reading, and also what story is that reading going to be coming from? Do you want to give us a bit of context about that?
I had to read my own one, don't I? So I feel like I've got to read my own one. I could have read someone else's, but no.
Okay, give us a little reading.
This is the beginning of faking it. So, people always want to know what happened to my leg. They did when I was a kid, and they still do now that I'm 40-something. So I'm going to tell you. It's a good story. You ready? My leg never really felt like part of me, and this feeling grew over time, so that by the end of primary school, I'd started to feel I'd be better off without it. And soon after I started secondary school, I knew it was time for action. So, off came the leg. My parents were a little bit anxious, they must be said. They worried for my health, but I reckoned it was my decision at that point. I was 13 after all, and they couldn't really stop me. So I just did it myself one morning, before school. I left my leg there on the bedroom floor, and off I went. Best decision I ever made. I hope you've worked out by now that I'm talking about my fake leg. Right. If not, then that last scene must have looked kind of dramatic in your head. Was it messy? Sorry, I can tell you now, no home surgery involved. No one had to shampoo the carpet. No, the leg I ditched at 13 was the false one. And that's what we called it, my false leg. And that's how it felt to me by that stage, like a fake, a counterfeit. So that's the opening of that chapter.
That's
I hope that wasn't too disturbing. If you're watching this and your teachers are in the room, they may have looked a little anxious at some point. My daughter got her teacher to read it out to their class, and I know that her teacher looked across at her and said,
"What's he doing with his leg?
Where is this going?"
I know. No. Well, I think it's a thing, and it's a wonderful insight into different people and different, and that's what I mean. That's obviously one of the things. Whatever any story is all about is being able to see things from another person's point of view and other people to see it from your point of view. If just a quick thing about sort of writing, because obviously these are people that have written about their own particular stories. In that sense, if one of the children watching or anybody watching wants to write something about their own life, do you have a good any tips for them as a good place to start? Obviously, life's quite a big thing. You know, so any sort of starting point. It's like children watching, maybe after the show, they sort of go, I want to write something about my life. I don't know, where do I start with it? Any sort of thoughts about that?
That's a really good question. So these are 22 essays, 22 growing up stories. So when we started this, we thought to ourselves, how are people going to do this? What's the best way? And we thought, you know, we could ask them all to write a letter from a grown-up point of view to their former selves. Dear James, age 12, here's some advice. But then we thought that would be a bit restrictive. There are so many ways to do this. Let's let people figure it out for themselves. And what we've ended up with is all sorts of stories. Some of them are like my one, which is a bit like I'm a grown-up remembering back to when I was a child. Some of them are letters to their younger selves. Some of them are more like fiction stories that put you absolutely there on the scene. It was this morning and I woke up and this happened. There are so many different ways to do it. So even just reading a book like this book perhaps, why not? Will show you a whole bunch of ways to tell a story that you can tell, the only story that you can tell better than anyone else, which is your own story.
Fantastic. James, wonderful. Now, Owning It is out now, and it really is an incredible book, and it's just, as it says on the back, highs and lows, true stories, highs and lows, and tears and laughter, the friendship and fallouts of growing up with disability. But it's good for everybody, and it can put any problems we have in a bit of perspective, I think. And I think that's something we could all do with sometimes today as well. So, James, thank you very much. James will be joining us for our author panel later on. Round of applause, James. Lovely to speak to you, James, and we'll speak to you later on. So, James Catchpole there. So, as I said, it's a varied show today. Got a bit of everything for everybody. So now we're jumping into over here, the land of the last wildcat. So let's welcome to Mr. Dilly meets Louis Sit. Hello, Louis.
Hello.
Back again.
Hi.
Lovely to have you back. Right. So, Louis, you spoke about puffing
Yes.
in your 1 minute. Very well done for the 1 minute. You did. So the puffing's journey is a sort of quite a big and bold journey in that. What inspired you to write about, I suppose, this particular animal and a faraway island at the same time? Was there any particular experiences of your own or sort of books maybe you read that kind of influenced that?
I think I started writing the story from the point of view of Puffin's relationship with her mum and how her mum was never around. And so Puffin was a latchkey kid, which for kids out there that don't know what that means, that's a kid that spends a lot of time alone because their caregivers or the adults that look after them are often very busy, not around very much. I wrote about that because that was my experience growing up. My parents were, they had to work very hard. So I had a lot of freedom when I was younger, and I wanted to write about a character that had that same freedom. So the story then evolved in that she discovers that some of the stuff that her mum's doing, she doesn't quite agree with. And that brought about the themes about children having to make decisions that maybe don't resonate with the decisions of the adults around them. So Puffin feels very strongly that she has to go on this journey because she thinks that it's the right thing to do, even though all the adults around her are telling her it's the wrong thing. So yeah, that was kind of the starting point for the big adventure.
Did some of these ideas sort of grow out of any childhood experiences that you had yourself or friends of yours?
Well, I love cats. I think that's,
Yeah.
I've always had cats. So that was one of the reasons I wrote about the wildcat. But also I spent a bit of time, not as a child, but when I was a young adult, I spent a bit of time in the environment movement, campaigning for the against the destruction of ancient forests. So the themes of respect for nature and preservation of the natural world and balance of ecology and all those things that are the kind of overriding themes in Land of the Last Wildcat come from my time in the environment movement. And I also loved to play in the bush, in the Australian bush, when I was younger. That was when my like love for nature started. So all that came together in the book.
So you're born in Australia, were you?
No, I was born in Hong Kong.
Yeah, and then went to Australia.
But we moved to Australia when I was 3, so I grew up in Australia.
So you had a journey. That's incrable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now, at the moment, you're in London, so that's
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. So you just mentioned about nature there and about your love of that. So obviously in the book, there's obviously the theme of nature is one of the big themes in there, but also obviously magic and science and stuff. And each of those, science, magic, and nature, are three big topics. How do you sort of balance those? Those three, they're obviously all interests of yours, but how do you sort of balance them all up together to kind of make them all work in the story?
I think they're all quite similar in some ways. Science, magic, nature, I think they all intersect at various levels. And I guess I wanted to write, there is magical elements in the book, in that there's this wildcat that maybe has healing powers, but I like to write stories where things feel quite real. And then there's like a area where it might be real or it might not be real. It could be real. Or is it magic? So that's kind of how I look at it. I don't look at it as this is science, this is magic, this is, nature. I think they all kind of are together.
Yeah.
And I kind of like to work in that bit where they all meet.
Yeah, that's true, actually, isn't it? I mean, they are all the same kind of the thing, if you think about it, in that sort of thing, which is true. Apart from at the beginning of the small story, she, feels kind of small, kind of unnoticed and stuff. And I think that's a feeling maybe we all have at some point, when whether you're a kid or whether you're an adult, what it is. What would you say to one of the readers who feels a bit like Puffin does at the beginning of the story? Any particular advice you could give to them, maybe in the way that Puffin deals with it herself, that you could sort of give across to us about that?
One of the things that Puffin, because Puffin's dad died when she was 5, but she remembers him very well. And one of the things that she remembers is the things that he used to tell her when she was younger. And one of those sayings that he used to always say to her was, Puffin, listen to your instinct. And when she's younger, she doesn't, when she's, like 2 or 3, 4, she doesn't understand what that means. But throughout the journey of this book, she discovers what that means. And it's basically your gut feeling. She learns to listen to her gut feeling and trust it. So that's what I would say, that to trust your instinct and learn to lean into what it's telling you.
It's that little quiet voice, isn't it? A little quiet voice, you just hear it, in the silence. Can you give us a little reading from the book? That'd be brilliant.
Sure.
Can you give us okay, let's hand over to you for that. Here we go.
So I'm going to read you the bit from the book where Puffin meets the Curie, which is the wildcat, for the very first time. Up to now, she's never thought that the wildcat actually existed, but she discovers one in the lab where her mum works. Sitting upright on its very hindquarters, the Curie was about the height of Puffin's hips, much like the fake Curie in the Linger Island Gallery. It was twice the size of a domestic cat, with fur a brilliant, shimmering orange. A pair of furry ears poked upwards from its head, ending in sharp pointed tips. Long silvery whiskers flared out from the wildcat's face, but most striking were its eyes. Round and iridescent, they were the greenest green that Puffin had ever seen. Hello, she whispered, her palm on the glass. I know you. The Curie's eyes looked deep inside her in a way that felt overwhelmingly familiar. You're a bit bigger than I thought you'd be, she said, wiping her nose on the back of her sleeve. The Curie arched onto all fours, padding a few steps closer. They gazed at each other, the Curie's eyes seeming to grow bigger the longer she looked into them. She felt like she was peering into the kindest eyes in the world, the eyes of someone she had known all her life. A rush of warmth swept through her. The Curie was hugging her with its eyes. I'm Puffin, she murmured, her breath misting the glass. Do you know that already? Her hands itched to touch its thick, shimmering fur. The Curie blinked slowly, cocking its head to one side. Following her movement, it placed a furry paw on the glass to meet her palm. All of a sudden, the tingling inside her stopped, replaced by a feeling of peace. Palm to paw with the Curie through the glass pane, Puffin felt calm for the first time that day. I've been waiting to meet you all my life, she murmured. Bending forward, she brought her forehead to touch the glass. Even closer now, she could see the glimmer of gold specks within the liquid green of the Curie's eyes. The wildcat leaned forward and with a fat, pink tongue, licked the glass where her forehead rested. Puffin's shriek of delight ricocheted around the room. Did Mum find you? Puffin said. Did she bring you back? Why didn't she tell me? In answer, the Curie's eyes glowed, the flecks of gold inside growing brighter and brighter until the two twin orbs became balls of golden flame. What is it? Packham stared, mesmerized. Are you telling me yes?
There we go. So that balance, you can see the balance of nature, science, magic throughout that. Very, very quickly, last question for you. I asked this to one of the authors earlier, but any particular thing you'd like children to take away from reading the story? Maybe, I don't know, about friendship or about nature, or anything particular thing you'd like them to sort of really take away from it?
I think two things mainly. One thing is just be yourself.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that sometimes it's not how big you are, but it's how brave you are that counts.
Very good messages. On that point, I'm going to give you a big round of applause. So, Louis, you'll be with us for the author panel a bit later on. Thanks very much, Louis. So, Land of the Last Wildcat, better on your screen than mine, is out now. There we go. Thanks, Louis. Speak to you later on. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, right now we're going to Cornelia Funke, of course. Here we go. So let's welcome Cornelia back over here. Welcome back on the show, Cornelia. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hope you've enjoyed listening to all the other authors.
Very much so, I have to say. Very, very much so.
It's really interesting. Real balance of different stories, isn't it? So
Yeah.
The Green Kingdom, as you said, a stunning, beautiful book with some wonderful illustrations. Illustrated by Melissa, can't say her name, Castrillon.
Yes, I have to say, I was very blessed with my illustrator there.
Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful, a beautiful illustrator book. So the Green Kingdom, you told us very cryptically a little bit about it in the Just a Minute. And I'll let you off on that, but that was close. So Caspia in this story, your main character, the adventure begins with riddles, and I love a riddle. I'm not very good at untangling them, but do you like, or why do you love stories that start with a kind of a mystery or a riddle? Is that something that kind of appeals to you in your own stories or other people's stories, and why do you think that's a good thing?
I actually, did not expect there to be riddles in the story. I wanted to write a book about my passion for all green things on this earth, because we so easy don't look at them, although we probably wouldn't live on this planet without them. So I thought, how can I pull it off? Tell stories about plants. I know how to tell stories about ghosts and dragons. I've done that a lot, but plants. Well, most kids just say, oh my God, Cornelia, really, all I need to know is this is a tree, this is a flower. I actually heard that from a Scottish boy at an event. But then there was a riddle. And suddenly the riddles seem to change everything about our curiosity, because we want to crack them, right? And I just saw a path based on this book with riddles in a botanic garden. And I was one of, like the kids, I wanted to solve it because they, of course, had done new riddles I didn't know the solution to. I think we all constantly want to do that, right? Answer questions we don't have the answers to.
Absolutely. I mean, immediately you just kind of, but that's the key of so many things, isn't it? Sort of keep you guessing to the next bit. A lot of your books, I mean, the Inkheart series and many others have really done what all good books should do, and encourage people to pick them up and actually read them, and inspire kids who maybe don't like reading to do so. How do you actually, do you have a kind of a way of writing for children, or is it kind of it just kind of flows from you? Any particular influences on that, or is it just something that you've always been able to do in that sense?
I once called myself, to explain that, the spy in the world of the adults, because I still think, and I am quite sure that feeling, that the world of the adults is utterly bizarre.
Yep.
I still don't understand it.
No.
I don't understand what they admire. I don't understand what they want to achieve. I don't understand what they think is important. In that, I think the girl in me, although I'm by now 66, is still the same and says, what?
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's a really good bit of advice, because I think I've said this before previous shows. The thing is, I saw it on an interview someone, it sort of said, everybody, and I don't know if this will make sense to children watching, everybody's winging it, in the sense that everybody is kind of making a lot of stuff up as they go along. And the people that actually say that are the people that you should speak to. The people that actually look like they got it all together, they haven't.
No.
No. So that, you know what I mean, though. So it's a good. I think when you're a kid, it feels like that, all over the place and stuff. But it's always with you as you're an adult. But you just get better.
When I meet those, when I meet those where we both know who feel so important, or they think they know who they are, I have a trick. I think it works for everybody. Just imagine them to be 5 years old.
we all are really inside. I think that's a great idea. How have children actually themselves, I mean, in your experiences, dealing with children, speaking to children, events with children over the years, how have they sort of shaped your writing as it's sort of gone through over the years? It just actually speaking and dealing with them. Obviously, society changes, but any particular thing that children themselves have? Yeah.
There's qualities about children that luckily have not changed yet, I think. First of all, children are not afraid to ask the big questions, right? So, where do I come from? Why do I die? What does this mean? What is war? Why is there war? All these questions that grown-ups have been starting to put away or not talk about it or pretend they don't think about it because let's just stay in reality, whatever that is. So children very easily go to the big questions. They are very serious about them. And I also know they can be shapeshifters at any time. So if I do a story and I say, okay, we're in a dark room, there's a tiny door that opens in the wall. All the kids will immediately say, okay, yeah, that's the deal. There's the tiny door. Let me try to shrink. We go through. Grown-ups, well, what does she mean with it? Why is there a tiny door? Do I have to, is it like a metaphor? And you're like, no, there's a tiny door that just opened in the wall. Okay? And I admire that about children. And I love when that happens. And I love that after every single event, I swear to you all, after every single event I do, there's a grown-up who comes to me and says, the children had such clever questions. I'm like, yeah, that's what they usually do. Whereas the grown-ups most of the time think about the question that makes them sound clever.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's really interesting.
In your answer.
Yeah, I wonder how many of the children watching actually can recognize that or had that before, or maybe friends or, friends' parents or their own parents, whatever it was going to be. Now, the Green Kingdom, if you could bring just one thing from the Green Kingdom into our world, what would it be? Any thoughts?
I think it would really be that feeling that my heroine, Caspia, has, that she opens a drawer in a dusty armoire in an Airbnb she doesn't like because there are flowers all over the wallpapers and the pillows, and she doesn't want to be in Brooklyn, and her father had to go there, and she's just upset and thinks she loses all her summer. And then she opens that drawer and there are the 10 letters. I would so like to find 10 letters somewhere, tied with a ribbon, dry flower on it. And you look at them and they come from all over the place in the world, and they're from 1958. Well, I was born that year, but there are many others of you who probably don't even know what that year felt like. I think I would like that to happen to me, but so far, no.
Not yet. Like a little stash in the corner, isn't that amazing? In that portal in the door, there you go, a little stash. Oh, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Now, can you give us a little reading from that? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to very, very quickly, because we're going to go put the part 2 credits on, just so the children know that they can come and then come back and watch it, because some of them have to go off for lessons about now, and then they can come back. You can stay with us, of course, or you can come back and watch this later on today, and then we'll be back with your reading to this part 2 and then into Cornelia's reading. And we still got, of course, Simon Packham coming up, and we've got Rachel Chivers and the video from Fidan as well, and then questions from all of us. So it'll be a long show today, but you can watch this at your leisure. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to go over to Cornelia now from a little reading from the Green Kingdom. Here we go.
So I told you already, there's Caspia in Brooklyn, born in Maine, usually used to the country life, wanted to be at summer with her friends. But her father has declared he has to help a friend on a construction site in Brooklyn, of all places. So there she is in a very strange apartment that he rented. And she is in her room and everything is covered in flowers, and she doesn't want to be there. She tries to text her friends, but they don't answer her texts because she's sure they are doing much more fun things. Here we go. The bottom drawer was even more stuck than the others. And Caspia was just about to give up when it finally budged. A bundle of letters. was sitting on the floral paper, as if it had been unwedged from behind the drawer when she opened it. The envelopes were long and narrow and made from pale green linen paper. Someone had tied them together with a green velvet ribbon and carefully placed a dried flower underneath the bow. It was violet blue. Caspia took the bundle from the drawer. It looked as if the letters had been very important to someone. It would probably be best to tell the woman renting out the apartment about them, but the letters looked so inviting, as if they were whispering, "Caspia, come on, read us. We've been waiting for you." Were they love letters? In movies, they usually were. The flower fell into her lap when she untied the ribbon, and the envelopes felt as if they could hardly wait to reveal the words that were hidden inside. There were 10 letters, and they had all been opened before. The handwriting on the envelopes was swirly and old-fashioned. Caspia could barely decipher it. The recipient was always the same: Minna Reynolds, 2101 Beekman Place, Brooklyn. That was the address of the apartment. But the address of the sender was different on each letter. Caspian could not even know where some of the places were, but she knew the countries: China, Egypt, Scotland. Yes, the letters came from all over, but only one person had sent them: Rosalind Reynolds. Caspia ran her fingers over the first envelope. What harm could it really do if she read one? That could still give them to the owner afterwards. She opened the first envelope and pulled out the letter. Dear sister, here's my first riddle, so we can travel together even though you are so far away. As promised, the last plants that you will have to guess will not be very rare, nor unknown to you. Also, each one will have a connection to the human world. Can you imagine, Minna? Papa and I are quite celebrities by now. The British botanist and his blind daughter who travel the world together to explore the Green Kingdom. I make all the gardeners rather nervous when I touch their plants with my fingers to get to know them. But I think the plants like it. So, as agreed, here are your 5 clues that will help you guess the answer. Caspia stared down at the letter in her hand, while the night outside was still filled with voices and car noise. There was a date in the top right corner, March 27, 1958. Her mom had not even been born then. But the words on the pale green paper, they were so alive. They sounded as if someone had reached for her hand. "Hi, Rosalind," she said quietly. "It's a pleasure to meet you." No. She would not return those letters. Not yet.
Oh, that's beautiful. Really mesmerizing. Thank you very much for lovely reading as well. Thanks very much, Cornelia. So Green Kingdom is out now. New York Times bestseller, great book. You'll be back for our panel very, very shortly. But for now, round of applause. Thanks very much, Cornelia. Cornelia Funke, thanks very much, Cornelia. Speak to you in a bit later on. Thank you very much. Okay, so jumping through, we're going to go over time today, as I said, but if you can stay with us, otherwise you can just watch back on the link. It's a beautiful resource for your reading, viewing, inspirational pleasure. Let's welcome, with Zach Monroe, Is Not My Friend, Simon Packham. Here we go. Hello, Simon. Welcome back. How are you?
Nice. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good. So, as I said, real varied show today, and now over to your book as well, which is another sort of different take. So, you gave us a fantastic just a minute. It seems an age ago now, but it was only about 45 minutes ago. Yeah. So, the book's title is an intriguing title. So, without giving any spoilers, I guess, tell us a little bit more about who Zach is. I know you sort of mentioned that in your just a minute, but a bit more detail about who Zach is and why his friendship sort of tricky.
So the main character, Sam, he's had these old friends for years and years, Cal, Finn and Jay. But then in the holidays, when the other boys are away, he makes friends with Zach Monroe. And Zach came to the school about a year before, and he's a little bit strange. Like on the school residential to Swanage, he did a talk about collecting owl pellets. He's into nature. He wears his granddad's old-fashioned satchel, and everyone thinks he's a bit weird. He's friends with a girl called Bella Rigsby, who is a girl who's a weightlifter and is training for the Olympics, which they all think she's strange too. And so being friends with him, albeit in secret, would be bad for Sam, in that everyone would laugh at him, and the other boys, he's worried about this friends list, they probably wouldn't put him on their friends list if they knew that he was friends with Zach.
With Zach, are any of these characters in the books, including Zach, are they based on any it might be aspects of yourself or people that you've met or children that you've met over your time, or are they just completely made up in your head?
Yeah, a little bit they are. I mean, I suppose as in all books, the main character is slightly based on me, a slightly weak character who wanted everyone to like them and is desperately worried about what everyone thinks about me. So that's me. And Zach, the more eccentric boy, is, yes, based on certain of my old friends from school. Someone called Ollie Welch, in fact, who's not with us anymore, sadly, but yes.
So that must be amazing, sort of drawing on little bits of your own friends and own life and putting them all together in a character. Although you said your one of your friends is sadly no longer with us, obviously other friends, are they aware that you sort of grab bits of who they are and put them into the book in that sense?
Well, not too much. My children always used to be very annoyed when I used bits of their life in my books, but yeah, no, they're not too aware. Although in one earlier book I did take pleasure in putting the names of the two bullies at my school, made them bullies in the book. So
I think that's good. If you're going to be a bully, you're going to get called up for it. I think that's a good thing. Just thinking about that, if someone, because you just mentioned about bullies, but also about Zach and being friends with him. If any of the children watching are having a tough time at school, feeling left out or unsure about things, or whatever it is, what do you think? What do you hope your stories kind of might offer them in terms of that? I know it's done in a very funny way in your book, but obviously any particular thing in there that could really sort of speak to them?
Well, I think that basically all my books are probably about the transforming power of friendship, and schools are so big, there's always someone there that you'll find to be friendly with. I know when I was at school, my life improved immeasurably when I met my best friend. He's called Big D, and we're still friends years and years later. So I think the important thing, as someone else said earlier, is to be yourself. You can't be anyone else, and you'll always find your people in the end. That's
really, really good advice. And it comes across in the book as well, which is wonderful. Just as a slight aside before you sort of give us a reading and stuff, what's the sort of I don't know, the wildest or weirdest or most sort of wonderful idea that's ever sort of come into your head? Maybe in writing in general, but whilst writing this particular book, with this sort of, do you find that kind of things just appear, or do you sort of or do you have a notebook that you write things down over your?
Well, I do have a notebook. I've got lots and lots of notebooks where I've write down weird things that I hear in cafes or wherever, and occasionally they come in useful. I'm trying to think of something now, but I can't think of anything appropriate. But yes, I do have lots of notebooks which I look for, especially when I've finished a book and I'm desperate to start another one. I'll cannibalize old stuff, and that has actually proved very useful.
Was anything with this particular book where you just literally, there was maybe an old idea that kind of went, I could use that and put that into this?
There was one little thing. My nephew, he's grown up now, but on his way to work every morning in Brighton, actually, in the cemetery there, he found this fox who had mange, and he started feeding him dog food with some special mange powder in it to cure this fox. And then later in the year, he went back to the cemetery, and the fox had some cubs.
Wow, so that's beautiful. Isn't that wonderful?
It's actually dedicated to my nephew Aidan, this book, for that very reason that he had.
Give that man a round of applause. Fantastic stuff. So you're going to give us a little reading from Zach Monroe Is Not My Friend. Give us a little taster of this wonderful book.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, so this is right at the beginning. Sam Taylor, he's in the dinner queue at school, and he overhears his mates, his best friends, Cal, Finn and Jay, talking about him. So here we go. So what do you reckon about this friends list thing, says Jay. Oh, Sam's right, isn't he, says Finn. If we all write down each other, we'll all end up in the same tutor group. It's not like I'm spying on them or anything, but it's good to hear your friends saying nice things about you. So instead of turning around and joining in, I keep my back to them and tune into the conversation. Cal sounds a bit doubtful. Yeah, but what, says Finton. Are you guys thinking what I'm thinking? Cal never thinks very much about anything. That's what's so great about him. I lean slowly backwards so I can hear them better. I'm not being funny, he says, but if you're only allowed 3 people, who would you pick? I thought I'd explained it to them. Maybe I should have another try. Like Sam says Finn, if we only get to write 3 names, all we have to do is pick each other. At least someone gets it. I know, says Cal, his voice dropping a bit so that I have to lean back even further. I mean, I'd definitely pick you 2, but would either of you pick Sam? Maybe I didn't hear him properly, or maybe he's seen me in the queue and it's just one of Cal's jokes. Probably, says Finn. We have all been friends since nursery. Yeah, but have we really, though, says Jay. Well, if our mums hadn't started that book club thing, maybe we wouldn't have played with him at all. What? No, that's not right. I mean, we haven't got much in common, have we, says Cal. Yes, we have. He hardly ever plays football anymore, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't support anyone. Yeah, that's true, says Finn. He doesn't even like FIFA. And he still goes to his nan's off to school every night, says Jay. What is he, like 5 years old or something? You know what he told me the other day, says Cal? He said that when he gets to St Thomas's, he's going to join the choir. Have you noticed how he just bursts out singing all the time, says Finn? He doesn't even know he's doing it. My dad says singing's well girly, says Cal. And what about that stupid thing he does with his armpit? I can't believe he thinks it's funny. My heart practically stops beating. Oh, surely one of them's going to say something nice about me. He's changed too, says Jay. What was he like on the Swanage trip? Dad reckons he's scared of Rocky, says Cal. You watch his face when Rocky barks at him. He needs to man up a bit, says Jay. Exactly, says Cal. He should try and be a bit more like Bella Rigsby. And they all laugh. I shuffle sideways towards the dinner grannies, wishing I could delete the last 2 minutes and respawn again. But the worst is yet to come. So who would you choose then, says Jay. Well, you 2, of course, says Cal. Yeah, of course, say Finn and Jay. And then probably... He stops to think for a moment. I hold my breath and squeeze hard on the tray. Probably Harrison, says Cal. He was so funny in Swanage. Yeah, and he's really good at FIFA, adds Finn. Did you hear what he said about Bella Rigsby, says Jay. That was hilarious. And they all laugh. I'm not crying. I wasn't crying in Swanage either. Whatever Harrison Summers says.
That's great. Great insight into school. I actually, not all of those, but I recognise some of those sort of moments in that. I think that's the thing, is a great insight into school, which is it can be amazing, can be very, very, very difficult time, and I'm sure a lot of the children watching would recognise both of those as well. So Zach Monroe is Not My Friend is out now for your reading pleasure as well. Simon, we'll be back with you in just a moment. So round of applause, Simon Packham there. Thanks very much, Simon. Okay, and for waiting incredibly patiently, it's my last live guest. We're all coming back together in a minute, and we've got a tiny little video at the end from Fidan Meikle as well. So let's give her a big round of applause. Welcome back, Rachel Chivers Khoo. Here we go. Rachel, we are back after the long journey. How's it going?
It's going very well. I'm having a lovely morning listening to about all these books.
It's fascinating, this. I think it's really, really good for all the children watching, obviously, to hear all these different authors and the different books. So obviously, it's interesting for the authors as well, I guess, sort of hearing different takes and different readings. So, Finders of Silverthorn Forest over here. Obviously, you spoke about it a little bit in just a minute. So, in the book, if I get this right, Max finds Tuft, a magical creature living in the woods. Here's a funny question. What would you do if you found a magical creature, maybe like Tuft, in real life? What would you do?
Ooh.
Oh, no, that's a good question. All the children watching can ask themselves that as well. What would you do? What would you do?
Well, I think I would just be really, really lucky. You know, I think what's interesting about the Finders is they're very secretive. They're actually very wary of humans. And so when Tuft meets Max, he's actually a little bit afraid and sort of has to swear Max to secrecy very quickly. But I think even if the magical creature wasn't wanted to be a secret, I think I'd quite like them to be a secret and to maybe just find some little way to bring them home and hide them somewhere in my house away from my mum and dad or something like that. I think that would have been.
Got to figure out what they're going to eat. You know what they're going to eat. Maybe take a leaf out of was it Simon with the fox and give them dog food with a bit of other stuff in it. He might make them fantastic. Now the finders in the Finders of Silverthorn Forest, they have a golden rule, which is finders keepers, and obviously the children watching will know that finders keepers rule. In life, of course, we have rules in life and in where we live and stuff. But in writing a book that's got magical elements to it, why is it important to? I'm thinking here about not just but about children writing their own stories. You know, why is it important to have kind of rules that matter in magical worlds as well? Why is that important? Do you think?
Yes. So I think, so I love writing magical stories. All of my books have always been magical stories and have had magical characters who exist within our world. So we have our sort of normal world, and then there'll be a little hidden world. And so my first book, it was the hidden world of wish keepers. And then my second book, The Hidden World of Magicians. And then for this book, The Hidden World of Finders. And I think whenever you're writing about a little hidden magical world, it's important. In some ways, it's exciting that you can kind of do anything when you write a magical book. Anything is possible. But also, actually, as a writer, it's really good to, when you're starting to write your story, to think about some of the constraints or limits of the magic in the world that you're creating. Because actually, usually in every story, something will go wrong. And actually, if you have unlimited magic, then it's very easy to just wave a magic wand and fix things, which actually doesn't make for the best story. So it's really good to think about the limits of the magic that your creatures or your people have, so that you can then give them a problem that takes a little while to solve and maybe is a little bit more costly than just abracadabra moment and everything's better.
Good advice to children watching about thinking about the rules for their particular worlds or stories, whatever they're going to do. With your own childhood, because obviously, you know, woods and wild places, obviously a big part of this book, obviously. Was that an important part of your own childhood in terms of that, just sort of being outdoors and being in woods and things like that?
Definitely. So I grew up in a suburb of Belfast, as you can probably tell from my accent. So I grew up in a pretty sort of grey, concrete sort of place, but I was very fortunate that my grandma, so Max goes to visit his grandma and see the woods near where she lives. And my grandma lived on a farm in just the middle of the countryside. And so I spent a lot of my childhood being able to kind of roam freely and do all sorts of slightly dangerous, exciting things, and learning how to climb trees and things like that. So that was really magical and something that I don't take for granted now. Growing up, I've got 2 young boys, and we try to get out and climb trees and be in nature. And I think I'm so fortunate to have had that, and that's, I really wanted to kind of celebrate that. In most of my books, there's nature, and I always feel like writing about nature. Actually, I find it quite a helpful reminder of just how lucky we are to have nature and how wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned you obviously with just your childhood there. If this is an interesting question, I think, and hope you sort of like it. This is actually a question that was asked by another school for another author another time, but it works really, really well for your book, The Finders Keepers. If you could find one lost thing from your past, an object, a memory, or even a feeling, what would it be? Isn't that a great question?
Gosh,
I mean, it's a good question. I know. That's why I asked. I thought that worked because it's finding stuff. So if you could find one lost thing from your past, maybe all the children watching could even think about something that maybe they haven't got anymore. An object, a memory, or a feeling, what would it be? That's a great question. Any thoughts?
Amazing. I think really the thing that actually inspired me to write the book was I had this terrible day a few years ago, just before I started writing the book, where I had a very little baby at the time, and we went out for a little walk, and he was asleep, and I thought, brilliant, I'm going to bring my writing notebook with me, put it under the pram. I thought, right, I'll try and get him to stay asleep, and then I'll go to a cafe, I'll start writing. And somewhere between my house and the cafe, the writing journal fell out from under the pram, and we spent, I went back and forth and back and forth. I think somebody must have picked it up, somebody quite well-intentioned, but then not known how to get it back to me. So it was just full of all of these book ideas. And I look back and think, oh my goodness, what I would give to get that journal back. But then what was amazing was even though I lost some story ideas, which hopefully have all stayed in my mind anyway, it actually became the inspiration for this book. So in a way,
you see, that's the way life goes. It kind of, you never know, do you?
Yeah,
it's the way it goes. So talking about this book, can you give us a little read? I'm aware of the time, but so if you could give us a kind of a good concise kind of little burst, that'd be brilliant. So a little reading from Finders of Silverthorn Forest, and then all the authors about for our panel, and we're going to do some quick fire questions, school questions from you, and then Fidan Meikle, a little video, and then we're done. So here we go. Over to you, Rachel. Here we go.
Thank you. So this is from the moment when the boy Max and the finder Tuft meet for the very first time. And Max, he's inside a treehouse and he's barricaded himself inside because he's surrounded by the finders of Silverthorn Forest, who are accusing him of trespassing. And then suddenly the trapdoor bursts open and a creature emerges into the treehouse. Max looked up in astonishment at the strange figure that had come through the trapdoor. It had a furred face, pointed ears, and wide, startled eyes. Was this really who he'd been speaking to? The creature was wearing human clothes and mismatched shoes. Max blinked, hardly able to believe what he was seeing. "What are you?" he shrieked, backing into the corner of the treehouse. The creature looked as shocked by Max as Max was by him. You're a... The creature lowered his voice before finishing the sentence. "A human." It slammed the trapdoor shut. "Yes. I've seen you before. You're the boy from the car. Gracious trees, I can't believe it." Max felt a brushing sensation on his cheek as the creature extended a single whisker to touch him. "I can't believe my whiskers. A human in Silverthorn Forest. A human boy in my treehouse." The creature stood frozen in shock for a moment. "Tell me the truth. Are you dangerous?" Max didn't know how to reply. He was surrounded on all sides by the finders of Silverthorn. Part of him wished he was a bit dangerous. Maybe then they'd leave him alone. "I'm not particularly dangerous, no," Max said, before adding, "unless you threaten me, in which case I may become dangerous." He stood on his tiptoes to make himself seem taller. "Are you dangerous?" Max asked, trying his best not to sound too worried. "Of course not." "What about them?" Max nodded towards the closed trapdoor. Well," the creature paused and reached out a furred paw to draw the curtain across the window. "It's probably better for them not to know you're a human. Not yet, anyway. They might panic."
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, Rachel. So Finders of Silverthorn Forest is out for your reading and jumping into forests and finding things. Pleasure. Rachel, we're going to say goodbye for now, and then you're going to bring you magically back in just a moment for our author panel. But round of applause, everybody. Rachel Chivers, Khoo, thank you very much. Rachel, thank you very much. Okay, so here we go. Author panel, let's bring them all back in. Here we go. Okay, all the gang are here, back again. So thank you so much. We've gone on a bit longer than we thought today, but it's been wonderful to get all hear about your books. I'm sure it has been for all the children watching as well. We have a few questions from schools sent in for you. Obviously, and we're out of time, so I'll kind of sort of jump in and ask you sort of different ones, if that's okay. Unless there's anything you want to chip into some of them. So here we go. This is from Charter Academy in Coventry. When you sit down to a blank page to write, what's your best way to get your creativity flowing? So Rachel Morrisroe, let's go to that one for you. Here we go.
Do you know what? This is a tricky one. I often find that I have to be inspired by something. So it'll be something that either I see walking down the street or something in the garden, so I don't often just sit and try and write on a blank paper. I'll often come to it once I've started my inspiration. So yeah, I don't know. I think think I like to do lots of reading, and I like to listen to podcasts because I'm often inspired by real life stories, so history and things like that. And that often helps to sort of, I guess, sort of give me a little nudge towards creativity when I've heard something that I think is really amazing, and then I'll sort of run with it.
That's great. Just very, very quickly, anyone else want to jump in there with anything that Rachel didn't say that maybe is something for the children watching that sort of maybe gives them an idea of getting their creative sort of juices flowing at all? Rachel or James or Cornelia, Simon, Louis, anything at all?
Well, I would sometimes say just listen, because I always believe they come from outside and not from inside. So put your antennas up and then try to listen. And usually there are far too many come. And then you have to pick which one to tell.
That's brilliant, brilliant advice. Okay, let's go to the next question. So, Clinic Primary School in East Ayrshire. Do you get your ideas from watching Friends and Family? So, I think we asked a vague question of that a couple of you earlier on. But let's go to who hasn't been on for a while. Who did we have at the beginning? James. So, any ideas in terms of your other writers? I know you've written picture books as well. Any thoughts?
Yeah, those picture books back there are all based pretty much on me, and my wife wrote another one. I based a lot of these picture books on asking. So when I go to my daughter's school, and I remember what it's like being 5 or 6 years old with one leg, because all the children say, "What happened to you? What happened to you?" all the time. My goodness, they never stop.
Yeah.
And then I thought, hold on, maybe I'll just reverse the question and say, what do you think happened? And they came up with all sorts of interesting things. And that's what I put in the book, really. So, yes, if you have the opportunity to get good ideas directly from children and put them straight in a story.
That's brilliant. Anything else? Anyone add anything to that? Louis or anyone else? Simon at all? Have you kind of mentioned that in when we had an interview? Anything at all?
I just think, just pay attention to your environment and the world around you. I get inspired by watching a stranger on the tube or someone I pass on the street or something, just from everyday life. So I think it's really important just to be a part of, put yourself out in the world and just observe.
Just look at what's going around you. Okay, here we go. This is from Joanne, an English teacher from the Balearic Isles. Hello, Joanne, and thank you very much for your class for joining us. What was your favourite book as a child? So we can all answer this one fairly quickly again. So let's start with Rachel Chivers Khoo. Any particular book, favourite book?
Mine is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien.
The Hobbit. Louis, what was yours?
I don't have a favourite book, but I have a favourite character, and that is Ramona Quimby from the Ramona books by Beverly Cleary.
Yeah, James?
Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card.
Fantastic. Cornelia?
Brothers Lionheart by Astrid Lindgren.
Brilliant. Simon?
Oh, also, I loved Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, see.
There you go. That's a good thing. And Rachel?
Mine was Funny Bones by the Albergs.
That's great. That's a lovely one. Okay, so this kind of leads on from that. Aylsham Academy Talkie. Who is your favourite character in children's fiction and why? That's quite a big one. Okay, so Louis, you might have to think of another one there. So Rachel, here we go. Chivers, here we go.
Maybe Moonface from The Faraway Tree.
Yeah, that's always, that's really popular, the Faraway Tree with Oars. It really is. Yeah, Louis.
One of the characters I really like is a character called Momo in the book Momo by Michael Ende, because she's a bit mysterious and she does things that other kids are a bit scared to do.
Brilliant. James.
What popped into my head was this tadpole in a book called Tadpole's Promise that falls in love with a caterpillar, and they both love each other, and they say to each other, "Promise me you'll never change."
And like a lot of life, it changes anyway. Here we go. Cornelia.
I think Jim, the hero from Treasure Island.
Yeah, that's a classic book as well, isn't it? Simon?
Probably William in the William books. He's a rebel and he's funny.
Yeah, that influences yours. That's great. Okay, and Rachel?
I like Paddington. I just love him. I've got a real soft spot for him.
That's a good one. Okay, here we go. As this is a May show, this is very, very quickly. So here we go. St. John Fisher Catholic College, Newcastle under Lyme. What are your favourite spring things? Here we go. So Rachel, Chivers Khoo.
I think bluebells, like maybe bluebells.
Oh yeah, we can't blue. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Louis.
I like the smell of freshly mown grass.
Oh, I like that. Simon.
Sitting in the garden reading.
That's good. Cornelia.
When the first hummingbird moth shows up.
Lovely. James.
Same answer. The tadpoles in my pond.
That's amazing. I got a thing with tadpole. I got my tadpole scrapbook. Here we go. And Rachel Morrisroe.
Well, the bats come out in my garden in late spring, so I love watching the bats. They're my favorite animal.
Oh, that's incredible. Okay, here we go. This is nothing to do with any books or anything at all. It's just fun. St Mary's, NS Kilkenny and Ireland. What's your favourite flavour of ice cream? Here we go. So let's go through this. Rachel Chivers. Here we go. Cool. Here we go.
So something in Northern Ireland we call Pooh Bear ice cream, which after Winnie the Pooh, but it's actually honeycomb ice cream.
Oh, honeycomb. Louis.
Coffee flavoured ice cream.
Oh, I like that. James.
Any that you get in Sicily on the Corso in Taormina.
That sounds good to me. Any really, isn't it? Is it Cornelia?
Pistachio.
Oh, yeah. Simon?
Rum and raisin.
Rum and raisin. There we go. And Rachel?
Mint choc chip.
Mint. Oh, yeah, I do like mint chocolate chip. It's kind of a bit controversial, that one. Okay. And so let's have a couple more. This is a hard one. And I'm going to test your brain because there's one I asked you at the beginning to prepare, which we're going to do in a minute, the authors. This one I didn't, and they're going to have to think on their feet for this. Here we go. Widewell Primary Plymouth. If you could summarize your book in 3 words, what would it be? Let's start with Rachel Morrisroe. 3 words. Off you go.
Magic, adventure, spooky.
Brilliant. Simon.
Make good friends.
Brilliant. Cornelia.
10 green riddles.
Oh, fantastic. James.
Unprecedented, needed, funny.
Oh, that's good. Okay, Louis.
Try be brave.
Excellent. And Rachel.
Friendship, adventure, and nature.
That was very, very well done. So I'm already like this. So fantastic. Okay. And in fact, let's have 2 more questions. One is this one here. Kingswood Park School, Hull. What can we expect in the future? I'm guessing they're not meaning, so it should be expect. It's got accept and everything there. Obviously, I guess they're not meaning, what's going to happen actually going to happen in the future, but in the future from yourself, okay? Although from Rachel Morrisroe with Felix and stuff, they might be able to give us a few more details. But so anything in the future, so like where this book's going, or is there a sequel, or you're working on something else? So let's go with Simon first for that one. Here we go.
Oh, no, I don't know. Going to Italy in the summer.
That would do. Cool. Cornelia, what about you?
Oh, not about writing, but what I will do in the future.
Anything you want, really.
Oh, wow. I think I will check on my dogs once I'm over because one is hiding from a thunderstorm in my car right now.
Oh, he might be in that secret portal, the secret thing in the door. You never know. He writes in some letters. You never know. Louis?
I actually am writing book 2 at the moment of Land of the Last Wildcat. And I do have another book coming out in June, which I wrote with Story Mix, which is called The Lucky House Detective Agency.
Brilliant. So busy. Rachel Chivers, Khoo?
So I have just finished writing the second book in this series, so another adventure for Max and Taft.
Okay, and James?
I'm writing editorial notes on the sequel to SF Side's Tiger this afternoon, and I'm going to school to help the choir learn the school song.
That's brilliant. Oh, I like that. That sounds good. And Rachel Morrisroe?
Felix trilogy, more picture books. I've got How to Grow a Reindeer out at Christmas time and A Million Chameleons out with amazing illustrators Aisha Ward and Stephen Lenton later this year.
Fantastic. Okay, here we go. The last question is I asked all the authors this at the beginning. Here we go. So, St Paul's Catholic Primary School in Alnwick, what is your favourite sentence from your book? So let's start with Cornelia. Do you have a favourite sentence?
Some witches are said to make a brew from it that makes the enemy see double.
Oh, I like that. I like these little things because it kind of gives you immediate kind of insight. Okay, James.
Everybody clapped when Rihanna threw out the first baseball pitch, but I don't think they pitied her. Am I like wheelchair Rihanna? I bet Rihanna would have gotten even more claps if she used a wheelchair.
Okay, Louis.
My favourite sentence is actually the first sentence in the book, but one word got changed by my editor. So the sentence was, the poo arrived in the post. And they made me change the word poo, but that's still my favourite sentence.
I like that. Simon?
Cal never thinks very much about anything. That's what's so great about him.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, Rachel Morrisroe?
I scrawl Felix Green at the bottom of the paperwork. And just like that, I have signed the official Secrets Act.
Oh, I love these. These are great. Okay, and the final one, Rachel Chivers, Khoo, here we go.
So mine's the first sentence in the book. Tuftorius Snook tied a neat knot in his blue checked bindle bag and fastened it to a stick. And if you're wondering what a bindle bag is, it's one of these.
Look at that. Got a prop ready to go. This is fantastic. Listen, it's been lovely to have you all on today. Thank you so much for all joining me on Mr Dilly Meets. It's been a really varied show, and great to hear about all your books as well. Give all the children watching, whether they're watching on Catch-Up or live right now, big wave goodbye. Thank you very much. Rachel Chivers, Khoo, round of applause. Louis Sit, round of applause. James Catchpole, Cornelia Funke, Simon Packham, and Rachel Morrisroe. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Lovely to have you on. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Okay, wonderful there. Now, we haven't finished yet. It's a very long show today, isn't it? But it's a great show because you can watch this at your leisure and stuff. We have another change of direction today. It's a real varied show today. A little 5-minute section telling you about her book and also a little reading from it. It's powerful and moving story about a boy named Samim as a young refugee trying to find a safe home. It's written by Fidan Meikle, and it's inspired by real journeys of courage and hope about refugees. So I'll hand over to Fidan, who's going to fill you in a bit more about that, and then we're at the end of the show. Here we go.
Thanks, Mr. Dilly. Hi, everyone. My name is Fidan Meikle, and I'm an author. I'm very excited to share my brand new book with you today. My name is Samim. It's a story of a very brave boy named Samim. He's 13 years old, clever, kind, and amazing at chess. But after something very sad happens in his home country, Afghanistan, he's forced to leave everything behind and travel all the way to the UK in search of safety, together with his best friend Zain. That makes Samim a refugee, someone who is forced to leave their country because it's no longer safe to stay. In a moment, I'll read you a short extract from the book. It's from the chapter called Rubbing Shoulders with Death, where Samim, his uncle, and Zain are being smuggled across the border from Iran to Turkey, hidden in the back of a truck. The next day, the tracksuit guy returned with a list. A wave of relief washed over us as he read our names. We were finally getting out. The early morning air sent shivers down my sweaty back as we stepped outside. My eyes ached from all the light and my weak legs wobbled as though I'd forgotten how to walk. The tracksuit guy pointed at the truck by the road, and we charged at it like a herd of bulls, sand sputtering from under our feet. After we climbed on the back of it, the driver put a plastic cover over us, and once again we lost sight of the light. Weak and dizzy, after days of hunger, Zain and I plunged into a deep sleep. We woke with a jolt as the truck screeched to a halt, making us slam into each other. People gasped and cursed, but my uncle told everyone to be quiet. He was right to be cautious. We lay still, trying to listen. We heard a car pulling up beside us. Some men came out of it and walked to our driver's cabin. They started talking, but we couldn't hear what they were saying. A sudden shout made us flinch. "Stay in your seat!" My heart pounded in my throat as I listened to footsteps walking to the back of the truck. The plastic cover above us, our heads flipped, and we covered our faces, hiding from the blinding torchlight. When the man holding the torch saw us, he pulled out his gun and took aim. "There are people here," he shouted to his partner. I grabbed Zain's hand and squeezed my eyes shut. Two men ordered us to climb out of the truck, and one by one we did. That's when we saw that they both wore police uniforms. "They're policemen! They're policemen!" I kept whispering to Zain and my uncle in panic, but neither responded. Their eyes were locked on the guns. The policeman told us to lay face down on the ground in front of the truck, and I was glad to do it because my legs were shaking. Zain and my uncle lay by my sides. For almost an hour, the police officers were calling people, telling them about us, then waiting, calling back, shouting, and all the while we lay there, our faces pressed against the cold soil. Soon, the men on the ground grew restless, and the officers got nervous. The man beside my uncle whispered to him, "We should run." My uncle shook his head. "They'll shoot us." "It's dark. We'll split up and run in different directions. They won't know where to shoot." My uncle's voice grew angry. They'll hit someone. The man turned his head to my uncle, trying to meet his eyes. "They'll get all of us if we don't move, and they will send us all back." My uncle's face darkened with worry. Back for us meant death. Uncle Roshan stared at the ground for a few seconds, then sucked in a deep breath and told the man, "We will all do it together when I say, spread the word." He then turned to us and told us to run at the sound of his voice. "Run as fast as you can, and no matter what, don't stop, don't slow down, and don't look back. Not even for each other." My heart curled up in my chest. I looked at Zain and he gave me a nod. I wanted to try to persuade Uncle Roshan not to run, but I didn't get a chance. The next thing I knew, he yelled, "Run!" All 15 of us erupted from the ground, scattering like startled rabbits into the darkness. Seconds later, gunfire roared. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed meeting Samim, even if in such a stressful situation. His story shows just how brave and strong refugees can be. Even though refugees might seem so different from us, they're just like us in so many ways. They have dreams, hopes, and fears, and they are just looking for a place where they can be safe and happy. Back to you, Mr. Dilly.
Look at that, wonderful there from Fidan Meikle. Thank you very much for that. And you can see in the beginning of the book there's actually a little map of Samim's journey in there. And this book really shines a light on the challenges that so many face. I told you it was a very, very varied show today. So I hope that's really kind of sparked your imaginations and minds about all the different kinds of stories. Huge thank you to all my brilliant guests today for sharing their stories, for all of you for watching, of course, and sending in your questions, being such a great audience. Whether you're now heading off to write your own story, dive into a new book, or just daydream a little, that's okay to do that. Keep reading, keep imagining, and just easy to say this, of course, for this very long Mr. Dilly Meets Today. My name is Mr. Dilly, and it's goodbye from me. And thanks for watching, and it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. Thank you.